Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good day. Also, today we are going to look at the area of cytology. And when we say cytology, it typically means a branch of biology that deals with the study of cells. So remember, cyto means cells, logy means study. So when we say cytology, it means it's the study of cells. And this cytology is trying to seek or to check for the different cell types that we have in our body or in generally in living organisms. And we have to know that actually, like for example, in human beings, we have over uh, 37.2 trillion cells, and these cells are found in average human beings, and we have different of these cell types like a hepatocyte, myocyte. So of course in human beings we have over 220 different cell types. So this cytology is trying to look at all these different cell types and the number of these cells that are usually found in the average living organisms. So cytology is very, very important, and as well as apart from trying to know the different cell types in all these living organisms, at the same time is also trying to address the organization and the structures in terms of the activities and the functions of the cells, and also how to visualize these cells as a total entity that is unicellular or acellular organisms, and as an integral part of elaborate organs and organ system of multicellular plant and animals. So ladies and gentlemen, basically what we want to look at under this cytology, number one is the different cell types that we have in the body, and number two, how these cells are organized, and also at the same time on after the organization on how these cells are functions, what are the different types of cells and how do they functions. Like for example, we have neurocyte is cell types that usually found in humans, that are found in the brain. So it is exactly the types of cells that produce a brain tissue, and we know the functions of the brain. And so also another examples of now. So apart from as another example, we have like erythrocytes. Erythrocyte is types of cells that found in the red blood cells, and it is responsible for the transport of oxygen in humans. So these are the kinds of the different cell types and their activities. So in this cytology we are going to look at all this, and in addition we also going to look at how these cells are visualized. How do we see them? How can we see the cell and identify them as a cells? So we can see the cells as an entity, that is as a single cell or a total entity, and also or as an integrated part of an elaborate organs and organ system. Yeah, of course we know that these cells are what usually that usually combine to produce organs and the organ systems in both plant and animal. So in this cytology, we are going to look at them at the same time. And also cells and their component are extremely minute structures of life that are too small to be visible to the naked eye. So also in these types, we are going to look at how these cells we can visualize them, and examples of these cells, like for example, we have bacterial cells. Bacterial cells are typically 1 to 5 micrometer in length. It means 1 to 5 times 10 raised to the power of -6 meters. So actually it's very small. While for the eukaryotic cells, the cells are 10 to 30 micrometer, and animal cells average diameter is 20 microliter, or 1 all over 50 of a millimeter. So therefore, if you look at the length, it's very small, it's very minute, so we cannot see them with our naked eyes except when we use an instrument which is known as microscope. So as a result of that, a lot of cytologists have continuously devised a complex instrument, including various types of light and electron microscopes, so that at least to get an elaborate structure of how these cells look alike, and also to scrutinize and unravel these subcellular structures and their functions. So you see now, as a result of the advancement in sciences, in technological advancement, we can now see a cells, we can identify a cells, we can actually see a cells as well as the component of the cell, and also how they actually carried out their functions. So that is why with this, a lot of technology and technological advancement have revealed how the cells look at. So cells can only be observed in details with the aid of microscope, which are the instrument that provide a magnified image of the object, especially the tiny ones. And actually, the early scientists, as far back as the end of 16th century in Europe, were able to construct compound, that is double lens light microscope, and that revealed arrays of microscopic forms to humanity. And it was the continuous use of the microscope that give rise to discovery of cells, so which has been credited to an English microscopist that is known as Robert Hooke. And we know that Robert Hooke is the one, actually the scientist that was able to discover cells in 1665. And so also he contributed a lot. And how did he come up with that? He observed the dead cells from plant tissues. And so also that is how that is how the beginning of the discovery of cells. And following numerous microscopic study of organisms, and in the year 1838, Martin Schleiden, a German lawyer turned botanist, concluded that despite differences in the structure of various tissues, plants were made up of cells. So with this, we'll understand that after the discovery of a cell by Robert Hooke in 1665, so it's this Martin Schleiden that also confirmed that this plant itself is made up of cells, and that the embryo and that the plant embryo arose from a single cell. So they are originated from a single cell, and they are made up of cells. And then also in the year 1938, that is a 1 year after the confirmation of the constituent of plant tissue, Theodore Chikwand was able to discover the cellular basis of animal life. And Chikwand concluded that the cells of plant and animals are similar structures, and went to propose two tenets of a cellular theory. And this cellular theory by Schwand was that, number one, all organisms are composed of one or more cells, and cell is the structural unit of life. So it means that life is cell. So anything that have a cells, it means that it foresees life. So I think this is just a basic introduction on this, and we'll continue.